So, today we're diving into something I think is a real game changer. It's one radical rule that completely flips the script on how we think about tidying. It's super simple, incredibly direct, and it all starts with just two words: discard first. Okay, let's just sit with this for a second. Because this is where it gets really interesting. We've all been led to believe that getting tidy is about buying the right bins and finding those clever storage hacks. But what if that's actually the very last thing you should do? What if we've been trying to solve the puzzle by starting with the last piece?
We've all been there, right? You spend a whole weekend, you get everything looking perfect, and then, boom, a week later, it's like you did nothing. That's the rebound effect. And the source material is really clear on this. It's not you. You're not failing. It's the method that's failing you, because it never gets to the root of the problem.
This slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one hand, you have the way most of us do it. This slow, painful, never-ending battle with our stuff. On the other hand, you have this idea of tidying as a special, one-time event, like a festival. The whole point isn't just to clean up for a little while. It's to create a change so big, so sudden, that it literally rewires your brain for good. And this quote, man, this just hits the nail on the head. See, when you change things a little bit at a time, it's easy to slide back into old habits. But a dramatic, all-at-once transformation, that's a shock to the system. In a good way. It gives you this powerful feeling of, whoa, I am never going back to the way it was. You've seen what's possible, and there's no unseeing it. So it all comes down to these two simple tasks: getting rid of stuff, and then figuring out where the stuff you're keeping should live. But the order here is everything. It is non-negotiable. You have to finish, completely finish, the discarding process before you even let yourself think about storage. The second your brain goes, where should I put this? You've lost. The discarding work just grinds to a halt. This is the one rule you absolutely cannot break. Okay, so we know we have to discard. But before we can toss a single thing, we need a destination. We need to know why we're even doing this in the first place. Because this isn't really about getting rid of junk. It's about building the life you actually want to live. And I'm not talking about vague ideas like, I want a clean house. I mean, get specific, get visual. The source talks about a client whose dream was a more feminine lifestyle. She could literally picture herself doing yoga before bed with aromatherapy oils and classical music. That level of detail, that's your compass. That's the North Star that's going to guide every single decision you make from here on out. So once you have that beautiful picture in your head, you got to dig deeper. Take every part of that dream and just ask why. Maybe 3, 4, even 5 times. Why do I want to relax before bed? Well, so I'm not so tired for work. Okay, and why does that matter? Well, so I can do my job better. You see, this process peels back all the surface layers and gets you to what really drives you. And what's amazing is, when you follow that chain of whys all the way to the end, you almost always land right here, on this one simple, powerful truth. The entire point of this whole shebang, both getting rid of stuff and cherishing what you keep, is just to be happy. That's it. That's the real goal. All right, so our destination is happiness. Great. Now, how do we decide what gets to come along for the ride? You can forget all those complicated old rules like, have I used this in the last year? According to this method, there's only one question that matters. This idea right here is a total game changer. It flips the whole script. Tidying isn't supposed to feel negative, like you're just hunting for trash. No, it's a positive act. You are curating your life. You're looking for the things that you absolutely love, the things that you want to bring with you into your ideal future. And here's the key. You can't do this just by looking at a shelf. You have to physically pick up every single item, because when you hold something, your body has a reaction. It's a real physical feeling, a lightness, a little zing of energy, a feeling of yes. That feeling is what sparking joy means. You just have to learn to listen to it.
Really think about it. When you get dressed in the morning, are you putting on clothes that make you feel amazing? Or are you just grabbing something that's fine? Imagine opening your closet and every single thing in there makes you feel great.
Or what about your bookshelf? Is it full of books you actually love and cherish, or is it kind of a monument to books you feel like you should have read? The whole point is to create a home where everything that surrounds you actually speaks to you. Okay, so you have your vision. You have your one and only criterion. Now you need a battle plan. You need a few hard and fast rules to protect yourself from the things that can totally derail this whole process. First rule, and this is a big one, do not tidy by location. That approach is described as fatal. Why? Because you've probably got shirts in your closet, in a drawer, and maybe one in the laundry room. Tidying one room at a time means you do the same work over and over. Instead, you tidy by category. You gather every single piece of clothing you own from all over the house and put it in one giant pile. It's going to be shocking, for sure, but it finally gives you a true sense of just how much you have.
And yes, there is a very specific order to follow, and it's there for a reason. You start with clothes. They're usually the easiest things to make decisions about. This is where you practice and hone your joy-spotting skills. Then you move on through books and papers. You save the really tough stuff, the sentimental mementos, for the very end. Starting with old photographs is a classic mistake. It's a trap. You'll get stuck for hours. You have to build up your decision-making muscle first.
All right, now for the biggest threat to your tidying festival. This quote is pretty funny, but the advice behind it is deadly serious. You have got to do this alone. Do not let your family see what you're getting rid of. And here's the flawed cycle that happens when they do. You decide to get rid of something, your well-meaning mom sees it and says, "Oh, don't throw that out, I can use it." The source mentions a client's mother who rescued a yoga mat even though she never did yoga. So the clutter doesn't actually leave your house, it just moves to another room. And now you've burdened your mom with something she doesn't need, and she feels guilty throwing it out because you gave it to her. It's a mess.
This is the key thing to remember. When you push your unwanted things onto your family, you're not actually being helpful or generous. You're just passing your guilt onto them. You're making them deal with your clutter. The kindest, most considerate thing you can do is just quietly and discreetly get your own discards out of the house.
So all of this, the rules, the categories, the discarding, it all leads to something much, much bigger than just a clean room. When you do this right, it becomes this incredibly profound conversation with yourself. This definition just says it all, doesn't it? Every single thing you own has a story, and it tells you something about who you were or who you wanted to be. And to hear those stories, you need quiet. You have to turn off the TV, put the phone away, and create a calm space where you can actually listen to your own inner voice.
But what about that stuff that doesn't spark joy, but you just can't bring yourself to get rid of it? This is where that conversation gets really deep. You have to ask, what was your job in my life? Maybe that sweater you bought and never wore it. Its job was to give you a thrill when you bought it. And maybe it taught you that that color just isn't for you. It's about acknowledging what it did for you, thanking it for its service, and then letting it go with gratitude.
And really, that's what this is all about. This process isn't just about clearing out your closet, it's about clearing out your life. When you intentionally let go of the things that have already served their purpose, you're not just making physical space in your home. You're making mental space, emotional space, space for the life that you actually want to be living. So the real question is, what are you going to fill that space with?